So there's some shoes that I've been really looking forward to reviewing on this channel in 2025. There's been some shoes that I've been eagerly awaiting to arrive here at 40 Runs HQ. A good example of that would be the Asics Sonic Blast, although that turned out to be, well, a bit of a disappointment. But there's a shoe from HOKA that recently came out that I was very excited to receive. Now, last year, the HOKA Mach X3 was a real disappointment. It came out and I actually kind of liked it, but it tore my Achilles, the back of my heel, to bits. And I was really disappointed at that, not because obviously it cut up my feet, but actually because I could feel that it was actually quite a good shoe underneath. They put the Pebax foam in there and dual foam setup, and they'd really made a good effort to step that shoe up. But because of the issues with that upper and the way it fit, I simply couldn't run in it. And honestly, it was a general disappointment from HOKA, and it was a real shame because, as I said, I think that shoe had some real potential. And when I saw at the running event in Texas that the Mach X3 had some major changes to the upper, and in particular that heel section, I got very excited and I was eagerly anticipating its arrival. So here it is, the Mach X3, and the guys at sportshoes.com were kind enough to send this over for me to review, and I was really excited, like I said, when it turned up. Firstly, I absolutely love this colourway, but more importantly, I love this bit here that actually doesn't destroy the back of my heel. So before we get into the things I like, things I don't like about this shoe, should we talk about the stats and features and update you on what's new here on the Mach X3. So the Mach X3 is a super trainer that's going to cost you £170 if you don't put my discount on. I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. We've got a 5mm drop. I think it's about 44 stack in the heel. We've got this dual foam setup. So on the top we've got the Pebax foam, and then underneath we've got this like EVA chassis, let's call it. We've also got in there a Pebax plate with these cheeky little winglets. That's to help with stability. We've got the same rubber coverage as the previous model, and then we've got the big changes to the upper. We've got this new woven mesh upper. We've got a new tongue on here that's a little bit more comfortable, but we've got this new heel design, which I'll show you a little bit more detail. The shoe weighs 292 grams in my UK 10. That's about 20 odd grams more than the previous version, so this has put on some weight, and that is something we're going to talk about in just a bit. But before we do all that, let's take a closer look. So here's this outsole, there's your Pebax plate, there's the winged elements of the Pebax plate. It's easier to see the dual foam setup here. So this is your Pebax stuff on top, and this is your EVA frame underneath, and the EVA frame extends into this heel. You can still see the Pebax there, but it extends here to create that chassis. Like I said, we've got the same rubber coverage as the previous model. It's pretty wide and it's pretty stable, to give it credit, but here's the major changes. Firstly, this woven upper, but here, look at this heel. So it's basically like a Clifton 10 in the back here, yeah? They've really consciously made changes to the back here. So you're no longer getting this slipping in the back here and this rubbing of the back of your foot. Now, unfortunately, those changes, that increased foam, this new woven mesh upper, has increased the weight, and that is a bit annoying. But we're going to put that to one side for just a minute. Fundamentally, this is basically the same shoe from here down. All they've done is change this bit, the upper and the heel section. But quite honestly, they needed to do that. Now, for some of you, I appreciate that wasn't an issue with Mach X2. And if it wasn't an issue, then you don't need to go out and buy X3. Just go and get X2 cheaper, right? You don't need to go and buy version 3. There's not that much difference in terms of the performance of the shoe. And actually, this is heavier, like I said, so you might be better off getting X2. But if you couldn't get on with X2 because of the issues in the heel like me, then you need to buy this version. So, performance. So as always, this has done a minimum of a week's running. I think I've had it longer than that. The guys at sportshoes.com were kind enough to send this over nice and early. So I'm not sure what the mileage is, but it's well over 30, maybe even 40 miles in the shoe. I've used it for multiple different things. It's been used all over the place on all different paces as well. Go and follow me on Strava and you'll be able to find out the sort of stuff I'm running. And actually, before we get into likes and dislikes, you can get 15% off this shoe if you're a 40 Runs Running Club affiliated member at sportshoes.com. All you need to do is go over to 40runs.com, sign up as an affiliate member. It's like 20 something quid, and you get 15% off your shoes at sportshoes.com. If you don't want to do that, there is a code on our written shoe reviews. There's a written shoe review of this as well, and there's a 10% code off of sportshoes.com as well. But anyway, let's move on to the likes and dislikes. Likes first. It's totally irrelevant, but I like this colour. I like the new heel design. I like the laces. I like the width and the stability the winged plate gives me. The outsole's not too bad. I like the plate and it works well with the dual foam setup. I like this Pebax foam here that gives me a nice spring off my toe. I like the EVA frame that we have here, which creates a nice stable ride. I like the fact that I can do multiple paces in this shoe. I've used this shoe for faster stuff and I've used this shoe for easier stuff, and it's been able to soak all of that up, which is important in a super trainer. Dislikes. I don't like £170. I know I've told you you can use my code and get 15% off of it, but I think £170 is too much. This shoe needed to be like £150, £155. I'm not sure about this upper, you know. I don't think it needs to be as thick and as sort of coarse as it is. I think they should have done something better with this upper. I'm not quite sure what yet, but I think they need to improve the upper on this shoe somehow in the next version. And lastly, I don't like the weight of it. It's getting towards 300 grams, which is too heavy for a super trainer, and I think that lets it down versus some of its competition. But other than that, I think this is another shoe that sort of blends in to the very, what's the best way to describe it? The oversaturated super trainer lineup that we currently have. And I'm thinking Sonic Blast from Asics, I'm thinking Speed 5, I'm thinking Zoomfly 6, Boston 13. All these shoes are very good, but they're all very much the same thing. And the issue that those shoes all have is that you can buy the Evo SL for less than £130. And that is ultimately undoing all these super trainers in 2025, because Adidas have made such a good running shoe with the Evo SL. It's very hard to justify £170 on these. And that's a bit of a shame really, because I actually like this shoe. In fact, I really like it. It just works for me. I like the stability I get from it. I almost prefer this, I think, over the Sonic Blast, which is a bold claim. But I don't know, there's something about this that works for me. I thought it would. And again, that's why I go back to my point about me being excited to get this shoe on the channel. I like the Clifton 10. Again, I wasn't expecting to like that shoe, but the fit and the feel of it, the comfort in the heel, here, it just works for me. And again, with this chassis here, it kind of almost reminds me in terms of the stability of the Tempest 2 from Saucony. So I would say to anybody who's after like a mild stability super trainer, this is probably one to check out. And yes, it is on the heavy side, but I'm happy to give that up to get that stable ride that I can do a lot of stuff in. So I think that's worth checking out if you're somebody who mildly pronates and you're after a super trainer, and some of these other ones are a little bit soft or, you know, whatever. This is a little bit more forgiving. It does make me think of the Rocket X3. Again, we've done a video about stability race day shoes. It kind of gives me those sort of vibes. It's not a stability shoe at all. It's not brought out to be a stability shoe, but I feel because of the chassis here with the EVA frame, you're getting a nice pop off the Pebax foam, but with the winged plate, you're getting a nice stable ride. So yes, this is worth checking out if you're after a mild stability super trainer. I think this is worth checking out if you're slightly bigger and you want a super trainer, and maybe the Saucony Speed 5 is that little bit too soft or something like that. But the issue this has, other than the fact that the Evo SL is £130, maybe cheaper if you're a club member, is that this is £170 and it sort of blends into all the other shoes that are out there, the super trainers that are out there. But yes, for me, I like it, you know, and you know, you've got this, you've got the Hyperion Max, which is unstable because of the cutout in the shoe, the Hyperion Max 3 I'm talking about, but they're all very much the same sort of thing. So this needs to stand out, but I think this stands out for probably reasons HOKA weren't thinking of, and that's some of that stability side of things. So it's well worth checking out if you have that. But to be honest with you, with all these super trainers this year, they've basically all been undone by the brilliant work of Adidas, where they brought out the Adizero Evo SL for £130. So there we go, team. That's my take on the Mach X3. I hope that was useful. If it was, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. I shall catch you all later.